out of the brook and put them in his shepherd bag, which he had, even in his grip, and his sling was in his hands, and he drew near to the Philistine. Church, what I want to focus on tonight is take some extra stones. This is really stuck with me, church. We think David went, he chose 5 stones. Complete faith that the Lord would carry him. It's knowing that the Lord was going to take him, or was going to help him to defeat Goliath. Knowing it would only take 1 stone to bring him down with the power of God, he chose 5 stones. Church, let's go ahead and backtrack just a little bit. Still in the same chapter 17, but starting in verse 3. It says, and the Philistine stood on a mountain, on one mountain on the one side, and Israel stood on the mountain on the other side, and there was a valley between them. And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines named Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits in a span. And he had a helmet of brass upon his head, and was armed with a coat of mail. And the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass. And he had greaves of brass upon his legs, and a target of brass upon his shoulders. And his staff, the staff of his spear, was like a weaver's beam. And his spearhead weighed 600 shekels of iron. And one bearing a shield went before him. And he stood and cried unto the armies of Israel, and said unto them, why are ye come out to set your battle in array? And not I, Philistine, and ye servants to Saul, choose you a man for you, and let him come down to me. And if he be able to fight with me, and to kill me, then will we be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then shall ye be our servants and serve us. And the Philistine said, I defy the armies of Israel this day. Give me a man that we may fight. And Saul and all Israel heard those words of the Philistine. They were dismayed, greatly afraid. So just to kind of set up for what we're seeing here, they said they were going to send one man. So David knew going into this situation, he appears later, but David knew going into this that it was going to be fighting one man. So why did David choose 5 stones? We see later on, I believe it's Deuteronomy, don't put me on that, I should have probably wrote that down somewhere, that David then had to fight with brothers, to fight Goliath's family. Church, Goliath was not the only person there, he was just the one that had stepped out as the champion to fight. So when he said that, if you defeat me, we will be your servants, if I defeat you, you will be our servants. Church, why would he believe him? First of all, let me look at this real quick. Why would we believe him? Because we know this is not doubting God. We know this is not David saying, I better bring extra stones in case this one doesn't work. This is not David saying, I better have some extras or some backup just in case I miss. No, he knew that the stone would have the power of God, that God would lead that God would take him down with that one stone. The rest of the stones was not to defeat Goliath. The rest of the stones was in case anybody else. There was other giants there. We see he had family later on in Deuteronomy. We see there was other giants. Those stones were not for Goliath. Those were for the others. And even though he said it would be just him, he stepped out as the champion. Why should he believe? comes as, why is it so easy to trust? Church, I've seen so many times people I know and love, and this is people I've cared for my whole life, people who have been my best friends, people who have been my family. I have watched them fall into a temptation because it was just once. It was just a one-time thing. I'll never do it again. I'm going to go ahead and do it this one time, and it'll be done. This one mistake will never matter. I'll never go back to it again. Church, why is it so easy for people to trust in sin? God said straight away, he said that he will kill him. That was his goal, was to kill this person and then to enslave the rest of them. Why, church, do we so easily trust someone who would want to kill us? Someone who is intent on enslaving us? Church, why is it so easy for us to trust sin that wants to destroy us? Why is it so easy to trust sin that wants to enslave us? Church, don't carry extra stones because we're just battling against this one sin. Don't carry extra stones as we get all the other sins. We have that temptation for when that sin comes back. We have the temptation for when it reoccurs. But church, how often does one come by themselves? Just like David knew in the situation that if he defeated Goliath, the others may come. Those other giants may come. The entire army may come. David knew not to trust him. Church, how often does sin travel on? We hear about certain drugs being gateway drugs. Church, but sin is the gateway to more sin. Someone may start with a bottle. Someone may start with something as simple as some sort of weed, some sort of drugs. I'm just being real, church. And suddenly they're telling lies to try to cover up. Suddenly they're lying to do this, lying to do that. They're hiding it from other people. So it just leads to a bad portrayal. And then suddenly they felt themselves further and further into this. Because the one-time sin was not one time. They felt themselves into a lifestyle of it. And then it becomes more and more and more. They're not fighting against the one. Suddenly they're being overtaken by it. Yes. Church, when you're having to defeat sin in your life, you're having to defeat the evil that comes against you, don't just grab one stone. Be prepared for them all. Be prepared that when this comes at you, it's not going to just get up. It's not going to be just a one-time thing, that it will continue to come at you. Grab extra stones because extra sins will come to you. Other attacks will come at you too. This is not a one-time thing. Life, this is how the world works. It will not just attack you with one sin. It will beat you down with everything. It will come at you with sin. It will come at you with temptation. It is not going to be a one-time and done thing. It's not once and gone. Church, grab extra stones. I'm moving through this quick, so let me go ahead and warn our musicians. It will not be long. Not right now, but you got a minute. Let me just be prepared. Up to verse 38. It says, and Saul armed David with his armor and put a helmet of brass upon his head, and he armed him with a coat of mail. And David guarded his sword upon his armor. He is straight to go. For he had not proved it. And David said to Saul, I cannot go with these, for I have not proved them. And David pulled them off. Church, I just want to mention that part. I just want to stick on that part. Let me go ahead real fast. Let me go to verse 40. It says, and he took his staff in his hand. He put back what didn't fit. He put back what wasn't right. He put back what would not work for him. And it says in verse 40, it said, and he took the staff in his hand, and he chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook. He went to what he knew. Church, the world will tell you there's 1,000 ways to fight off your sins. The world will tell you there's ways to get past the things that are obsessing you, the things that are coming at you, the things that are bothering you, the things that you can't get past. Church, go to what you know. Go to what has worked, church. Do not worry about this, that, and the other that the world tells you to go to because there's things about the world. Church, go to God. When you are under attack and you need a weapon, go to God. Do not go to the things of this world. Do not go to what you do not know. Go to what has proven itself. Go to what you know works. Go to what has been tried and true in your hands. Go to your staff. Go to your God, church. He says, and I've read this over and over. He says, he took his staff in his hand and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook and put them in a shepherd bag, which he had. Even in his scrip. And his sling was in his hand. And he drew near the Philistine. Church, go with what you know. Praise God. Do not worry about the tools, the weapons of this world. Do not worry about these things. Church, do you know most of these drug rehab programs? And I'm not trying to harm anything. I love anything that will get people out together, get people out of any sort of system program, get people off of alcohol, get people off of drugs, get people out of these wicked lifestyles. Church, but most of them do not lead you to God. And when they do not lead you to God, they will lead you back to that same life. Church, go to what you know works. Go to the Lord. Church, because that sword would not have helped David. That chainmail would not have helped David. Church, what he knew. That sling that God had proved him with is what saved him. Church, the sling that God had proved him with not only saved him, saved them all, church. Continuing on to verse 45. And then said David unto the Philistine, Thou comest to me with a sword, and with a spear, and with a shield. But I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, who thou hast defied. Church, when we are battling sin, we are battling the wicked things of this world, it is not just us who is standing for this. It is not us alone. Do not feel like you are doing this alone. Do not feel like it is all you. You are standing with God. And when you are battling against the things that defy God, that stand against the Lord, stand against the way of the Lord, stand against what he has put into place, church, you are standing with the Lord. And this day the Lord will deliver thee into mine hand. And I will smite thee and take thine head from thee. And I will give the carcass of the host of the Philistines this day, and to the fowl of the air, and to the wild beast of the earth. And all of the earth may know there is a God in Israel. And all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and will give you unto our hands. On in verse 48, it says, And it came to pass, when the Philistines arose and came and drew nigh to meet David, David hastened and ran towards the army to meet the Philistines. And David put his hand in his bag and took a stone and slang it and smote the Philistine in the forehead. And the stone sunk into his forehead, and he fell upon the face of the earth. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and smote the Philistine and slew him. But there was no sword in the hand of David. Therefore David ran and stood upon the Philistine and took his sword and drew it out of the sheath therefore, and slew him, cut off his head therein. And when the Philistines saw their champion was dead, they fled. Church, and let me just tell you and see the laugh. Literally, anybody who is watching this on Facebook, no, my 3-year-old daughter is really my motivation for this. And my ever-present reminder in this story. Because someone told her a while back, said, oh yeah, you know, David killed Goliath with a sling. And she told me, she said, that's not right. Said he cut his head off. Church, I'm telling you, underestimate the little picture books. Don't underestimate the little picture Bibles. I don't know how brutal that one gets, but man, she's right. Church, let me tell you, he did not take Saul's sword. But he still told Goliath that he would cut his head. He still told Goliath that he was going to cut his head off. Went in with no sword. Church, let me tell you, the stone took Goliath down. David had to kill Goliath. Church, I tell you, one of the most bittersweet things in this world is freedom. And we would all live a lot better life if we didn't have it, if we didn't make our own decisions, because usually we make bad decisions. So one of the most bittersweet things in this world is free will. Church, let me tell you, the Lord will give you the power it takes to defeat your enemies. But you have to go. And you have to. Church, the Lord will give you the power to stand in the face of temptation and say no. But church, in that moment, you have to say no. The Lord gives you power to slay the giant. You have to kill the giant. The Lord gives you power to say no to this evil that is in your life, to say no to the temptation, to say no to the sin and put an end to it. But church, at the end of it, you have to put an end to it. Church, because you can do all things. You can do all things with God. You can slay the giants. You can defeat the enemies. You can defeat the sin. You can say no to the temptations. You can walk away and turn away and never see it again. But church, if you don't use God, it won't happen. Come on. If you don't do it yourself, when He gives you that temptation, when He helps you to overcome, if you do not make the step yourself, He is going to miss you. If you let yourself fall into temptation and you decide, in spite of the God fighting for you, in spite of what the Lord has said, that you will fall for that temptation, you will live that life, you will step back into that sin, you accomplished nothing. Church, in that day, if David would have just knocked Goliath down and left him laying, he would not have slain the giant. Because you see, after they saw their champion was dead, the stone that knocked him down was not enough to kill him. The stone that knocked him down was not enough to ruin the rest of the army and make them run off scared. The fact that David slayed it, when David took that step further and slayed him. Church, we have to be able to take that step further and slay that sin. We have to be able to take that step further and say that God has given me the power and authority to be past this, to move, to be in spite of this temptation, to fight through this. We have to do what it takes on our part to say, I will. Come on. God has brought me this far. I will take that last step to say no more. God has brought me through this. I will not go back. God has removed this from me. I will not take it back up on me. But thank you, Jesus. Oh, thank you, church.
Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah.
Church, just remember when you're facing this. When you're facing those temptations, when you're facing the wickedness of this world, sling is in your hand. And you have those smooth stones. Everything you need to overcome everything that is fighting against you, that is tempting you, that is tearing you apart, tearing you down, everything you need is right there in your hand. And God has proved it to you. Church, thank you. Thank you. Everything you need is right there. He's just waiting on you. The Lord's just waiting on you to decide this. And this is my last point I want to make tonight, and I'm finished. Church, this was not David's fight in the first place. David went, he was the youngest, and he was sent by his dad, go take him something to eat. It's that simple. And this is how we live. Church, not every battle we face is going to be ours. Because when we see our brothers and we see our sisters, and they're fighting against something horrible in their life, they're fighting against sin, they're fighting against temptation, church, maybe I got to step in the way and say no. Let me help you in this. Let me find this for you today. I know the power of the Lord will take me through this. It's like I know the power of the Lord will take me through this. Because in him saving David, he saved them all. The power of the Lord moved through him and saved all of the rest. Church, don't just grab the one smooth stone. Grab enough to save everyone. Grab enough to fight all the sin that everybody's facing. Grab an extra smooth stone, church, for when the day hits me where I'm in temptation. Church, grab a smooth stone for the day that your brother's in temptation and you don't know what to do. Church, grab an extra smooth stone for whenever your sister is fighting for her life against sin that she doesn't know what to do. Church, grab an extra stone for all of us, church.
Praise the Lord. Yes.